Step back into a Halloween from the 1960s, when porch lights glowed orange, air carried wood smoke, and laughter echoed down leaf-strewn streets. Tricks were wilder, costumes riskier, and freedom felt endless beneath the cold October moon. This isn't just a list of lost customs. It's a journey through a night when ordinary fun would now invite police reports, fines, or insurance claims. By the end, you'll see how the thrill that once defined Halloween was slowly legislated away. Egging houses, cold October air, carried laughter as paper bags rustled and sneakers slapped wet sidewalks. White splashes hit doors and windshields, a fleeting mark of defiance, followed by quick retreats into shadowed corners. In the 1960s, egging was a daring ritual, a playful rebellion that signaled Halloween's thrill without causing lasting harm. Neighbors shook their heads, rinsed their doors, and moved on, part of a night that blurred boundaries between mischief and fun. Today, tossing eggs can be prosecuted as vandalism. Hardened shells may etch paint. Homeowners can demand restitution, and surveillance cameras make identifying culprits almost certain. The memory lingers: slick sidewalks, fleeting laughter, the rush of escape. Next comes a tradition that looked prettier at sunrise, but caused twice the trouble when the sun rose. Toilet papering yards. Under a pale October moon, white ribbons arced through the air and caught on maple branches, glimmering like snow in the streetlight glow. Laughter rustled as kids darted between lawns, tossing another roll skyward, the paper drifting down in slow, silent curls. In the 1960s, toilet papering was a harmless badge of rebellion, one that said, you were brave enough to play and quick enough to vanish before adults appeared. The morning cleanup was half the fun, and no one called it damage. Now, considered property vandalism, cleanup can clog gutters, stain siding when wet, and lead to misdemeanor charges in some states. Liability for property defacement can even extend to parents. That white shimmer once meant triumph. Today, it's a police report waiting to happen. The following tradition sparked more than laughter. It sparked alarms, breaking windows. Glass shimmered in the porch light for only a heartbeat before it burst into sound. A sudden crack that tore through the cold October air. Somewhere, a shout. Somewhere else, laughter fading fast as sneakers hit the curb. In the 1960s, breaking a window wasn't hatred or crime. It was a dare between friends, a test of nerve when the night felt endless and rules felt far away. The chaos ended as quickly as it began, leaving only silence and bragging rights. Today, this is treated as property destruction. Repair costs soar, charges follow, and surveillance removes all excuses. What was once a badge of daring now carries real-world consequences. That splintering echo still lingers in Halloween lore, teasing the imagination. What unpredictable stunt will the night dare to unleash next? Throwing firecrackers at people. A hiss cut through the cold night, followed by a crack so sharp it seemed to split the dark in two. Smoke curled above the pavement as porch lights flickered and laughter burst from the shadows. Teenagers grinned, clutching matchbooks and paper-wrapped fuses, tossing firecrackers toward friends who dodged and shrieked before the next explosion hit. In the 1960s, this was mischief, not menace. A fast, fiery game of courage where risk felt harmless and noise was part of the fun. The air stung, the night glowed, and no one thought twice. Now, considered unsafe. Hand-thrown fireworks can cause burns, hearing loss, and minor fires. Public safety laws impose fines and confiscation. The same spark that once meant freedom now triggers police lights and panic. Next up, the prank that traded sparks for smoke and left far more damage behind. Street bonfires without permits. The scent of smoke drifted through cool October air as flames licked skyward in the middle of quiet suburban streets. Kids dragged fallen branches, tossing them into the growing fire, while parents watched from porches, coffee in hand, the warmth pulling everyone closer. In the 1960s, these street bonfires were both celebration and rebellion, a glowing heartbeat of the neighborhood where stories mingled with sparks and curfews blurred into laughter. The fire's crackle felt like freedom itself. Now, such gatherings are deemed unsafe and illegal without permits. Open flames on public roads risk property damage, fines, and fire department citations, What once united a community now violates codes and insurance rules. Those glowing embers once drew neighbors together. Now they linger as a memory of nights when mischief and warmth collided in fleeting, unforgettable brilliance. Trespassing for pranks. Frost clung to the grass as footsteps whispered through backyards and vacant lots. Flashlights flicked off, giggles died into silence, and the night became a maze of fences and shadows. In the 1960s, Halloween gave permission to cross boundaries, literally. Kids cut through private gardens, slipped behind sheds, and crept past no trespassing signs in pursuit of a perfect scare. The thrill wasn't destruction, it was discovery. That pulse of freedom in forbidden spaces. Adults called it harmless wandering. Now, officially, trespassing. Modern property laws allow citations or police involvement, even for minors. Surveillance cameras make stealth nearly impossible. What was once an adventure is now an arrest record waiting to happen. That quiet rustle of sneakers once meant daring. Up next, a prank that made those footsteps a lot louder and a lot more expensive. Harassing prank calls. The rotary dial spun under nervous fingers as shadows from flickering jack-o'-lanterns danced across the walls. A hush fell, broken only by whispered threats or silly rhymes delivered into the receiver, followed by stifled laughter as the line went silent. In the 1960s, prank calls were a fleeting thrill, a secret performance in a world without caller ID or instant traceability. Kids delighted in confusion, neighbors grumbled, and the night felt infinite, charged with anonymity. Now, considered nuisance or harassment. Modern telecommunication laws allow fines or even juvenile citations. Traceable numbers mean every prank leaves a record. The thrill of hidden voices has dimmed, replaced by screens and blocked numbers. What came after this made mischief tangible in a way a phone line never could. Small objects, big consequences, waiting in the shadows. Public mooning. Streetlights spilled pale gold across empty sidewalks as teens crouched in shadows, hearts racing. A sudden turn, a flash of bare skin, and startled yelps ricocheted down the block, mingling with stifled laughter and the rustle of leaves. In the 1960s, public mooning was mischief distilled, brief, bold, and absurdly funny. A prank that pushed boundaries without malice. The audacity felt electric, a shared secret between friends, while adults shook their heads and whispered, more amused than angry. Now, treated as a public nuisance and indecent exposure. Modern ordinances impose fines or citations, and smartphones and surveillance ensure no act goes unseen. That fleeting boldness once defined Halloween's edge. The next prank, however, replaced laughter with sparks, small, fiery, and far more dangerous. Graffiti vandalism. Neon orange streetlights glinted off damp brick as hurried hands pressed chalk and paint to walls, fences, and alleyways. Names, crude sketches, and cryptic messages leapt from surfaces, carried by the thrill of being seen, yet unseen. In the 1960s, graffiti on Halloween was a rebellious flourish, a burst of creativity in a night that tolerated bold gestures. Each scrawl was a fleeting signature, a proof of presence that vanished with morning dew. The act thrilled and connected, a secret language of youthful audacity. Now, considered vandalism. Modern property laws treat painted surfaces as criminal damage with fines, restitution, and even misdemeanor charges. Security cameras make anonymous defiance nearly impossible. Those hurried strokes once felt like self-expression. What followed, however, turned playful marks into sparks and embers. Pranks that left a lasting scorch on memory. Stealing lawn ornaments. Porch lights flickered on plastic pumpkins and skeletons as shadows stretched across manicured lawns. Fingers brushed cool grass, hearts thumped, and a stolen ghost or jack-o'-lantern disappeared into waiting arms. The thrill carried in whispered giggles. In the 1960s, taking a neighbor's lawn ornament was playful daring, a small rebellion that tested courage without intending harm. Adults shook their heads, sometimes laughed, and the night carried on, alive with mischief and orange glow. In modern times, such pranks are treated as unauthorized taking. Homeowners can demand replacements, police may file reports, and repeated offenses can leave a juvenile record. The act that once sparked triumph now brings real-world consequences. Those pilfered decorations once filled the night with laughter. Next, a prank that transforms ordinary objects into sparks, and near disasters, smashing pumpkins. Orange pulp sprayed across driveways as children hurled pumpkins from porches, the crisp autumn air carrying the scent of smashed squash. Laughter echoed down quiet streets while teens stomped on gourds, boots crunching against wet stems, creating bursts of color that shimmered in the streetlights. In the 1960s, this was a thrilling ritual, a way to release energy and mark Halloween with chaotic creativity. Parents scowled or chuckled, and the fleeting mess became part of the night's magic, ephemeral and exhilarating. Today, such antics fall under property damage laws. Homeowners may demand restitution, and scattered debris can pose safety risks, attracting legal or municipal attention. The splattered streets and shattered shells left a wild, untamed trace of the night, as if the neighborhood itself had joined the mischief, daring anyone to match its audacity. Egging cars. Headlights glinted off polished hoods as shadows darted between porches, paper bags swinging, and eggs cracking against metal. The smell of raw yolk mixed with crisp October air, laughter bubbling as each splatter marked a small triumph of daring. In the 1960s, egging cars was a mischievous rite, a playful challenge that tested stealth and nerve, leaving children buzzing with adrenaline while neighbors shook their heads. The act wasn't intended to harm, just to punctuate Halloween with unpredictable chaos. Law enforcement can classify broken eggshells on vehicles as criminal mischief, resulting in documented complaints, potential restitution, and official notes that may follow youthful offenders. Those slick, fleeting streaks once thrilled pranksters. Next, a tradition that sparks louder reactions and far bigger consequences. Throwing rocks at vehicles. Moonlight bounced off chrome bumpers as small stones flew from crouched hands. The soft thud, followed by blaring horns, sending pulses racing. Shadows darted along sidewalks, laughter mingling with startled squeals. Each pebble, a heartbeat of daring in the cool October night. In the 1960s, tossing rocks at passing cars was a reckless game, a way to test courage and feel the thrill of unseen risk while the world carried on. Parents grumbled, drivers fumed, and children counted their bravery in giggles and quick retreats. Striking vehicles with thrown stones now counts as criminal property damage. Police reports, insurance claims, and liability for repairs can follow immediately, and even a single hit may be officially documented. The sharp crack of stone once electrified the night. Next, a prank that turns harmless shadows into a fiery spectacle. Porch fire pranks. Flickering flames licked at wooden steps as matches ignited paper decorations, throwing jittering shadows across walls and porches. The crisp autumn air carried the scent of scorched leaves, mingling with nervous giggles and the startled whispers of neighbors peeking from windows. In the 1960s, tiny porch fires were daring dares, a test of timing, courage, and mischievous ingenuity, leaving the night alive with fleeting, fiery thrill. Today, such stunts fall under strict fire safety regulations. Property owners can demand repairs, fire departments may respond to alarms, and participants risk fines or juvenile citations for endangering people and homes. Every dancing spark once electrified the street. Next, a Halloween prank that transforms harmless items into unpredictable, heart-pounding chaos under the moonlight. Candy tampering. Doorsteps glimmered with jack-o'-lantern light as waxed paper rustled and coins clinked, punctuating the rhythm of Halloween exchanges. In the 1960s, a sly swap of candy or a whispered switch of wrappers was a mischievous thrill, blurring the line between prank and paranoia. Children darted away laughing, while urban legends wound through neighborhoods, amplifying fear and fascination. The tension was fleeting, yet it sharpened an otherwise carefree night. Today, even a single tampered treat can spark legal investigations, school protocols, and parental scrutiny. What once inspired nervous chuckles now foreshadows an audacious trick that will send ordinary streets spinning into chaos, proving that Halloween mischief could always escalate to something entirely unexpected. Prank assaults. Streetlights flickered on startled faces as teens lunged in playful tackles, quick shoves, or sudden grabs, laughter mixing with surprised gasps. The crisp October air carried the sound of sneakers scraping pavement and jack-o'-lanterns casting jittery shadows on brick walls. In the 1960s, these prank assaults were a test of bravery, a fleeting rush that pushed the boundaries of Halloween mischief without real intent to harm. Parents frowned or shook heads, neighbors whispered, and the night thrummed with daring energy. Modern interpretations classify sudden physical pranks as assault or harassment. Victims can report incidents, law enforcement may intervene, and juvenile records can follow even brief, playful contact. Each tumble or startled cry once fueled excitement. Next, a mischievous act that turns ordinary objects into fiery spectacle under the moon. Mass object pelting. Buckets of apples, rotting vegetables, and whatever could be grabbed flew through the air, bouncing off doors and smashing against fences. The crisp autumn wind carried the scent of bruised fruit and echoed with bursts of laughter as children and teens darted between shadows, daring one another with every toss. In the 1960s, mass object pelting was a chaotic ritual, a playful rebellion that transformed neighborhoods into stages for mischievous theatrics. Adults sighed, cleaned up the remnants, and accepted it as part of the night's wild charm. Now, flinging items at property can be treated as criminal mischief. Victims may file police reports, demand restitution, and accidental injuries could create liability claims. Those flying objects once sparked adrenaline. Next, a prank that sets the night alight, literally and dangerously. Releasing animals, shadows stretched across yards as a barn cat darted between pumpkins, a chicken flapped wildly, and a stray dog bounded through the crisp October night. Children crouched behind hedges, hearts racing, stifling laughter at the chaos they had unleashed. In the 1960s, releasing animals was a daring Halloween prank, meant to surprise and entertain rather than harm. A living emblem of the holiday's unpredictable spirit. Neighbors scolded, adults shook heads, and the night shimmered with fleeting delight. Today, the same stunt is far from harmless. It falls under animal endangerment or trespass laws. Stray or released creatures can trigger police intervention, veterinary expenses, and liability claims, turning playful mischief into legal jeopardy. Those scurrying animals once thrilled pranksters. Soon, a prank erupts in sparks and sound, a spectacle that transforms the ordinary night into dazzling chaos under the moon. Real guns as costume props, cold metal pressed against small hands, the faint weight of a real gun adding a pulse of fear and excitement. Shadows stretched across quiet streets as teenagers paraded through October darkness, each step vibrating with tension while neighbors paused between awe and alarm. In the 1960s, incorporating real firearms into a costume was a daring spectacle, a reckless thrill that turned Halloween into a theater of audacity, testing courage and nerves alike. Now, strict weapons laws govern such acts. Authorities can seize firearms, issue citations, and parents may face criminal charges for endangering public safety. Every brandished barrel once sparked electricity in the night. Soon, the next memory shows how ordinary objects could ignite chaos with flames and sparks under a mischievous moon. Flammable homemade costumes, paper, crepe, and loosely woven fabrics shimmered under jack-o'-lantern glow as children paraded through the crisp night, their homemade costumes catching every flicker of candlelight. The scent of wax mingled with autumn air, and hearts raced with the thrill of stepping into a character stitched together from imagination alone. In the 1960s, flammable outfits were part of Halloween's daring charm, a mix of creativity and risk that made every porch a potential stage for suspense. Modern fire safety regulations classify such costumes as hazardous. Even a brief exposure to open flames can trigger burn injuries, fire code violations, and liability for parents or guardians, turning inventive fun into documented danger. Every flicker once sparked exhilaration. Next, a prank that turns ordinary streets into unpredictable chaos under the moon. Fireworks near homes, sparks hissed and whistled as rockets and sparklers streaked through the crisp October air, their glow reflecting in wide-eyed faces and bouncing off porch walls. Children and teens crouched on sidewalks, aiming small rockets at yard edges, each pop punctuating laughter that rolled down quiet streets. In the 1960s, fireworks near homes were a thrilling punctuation, a way to electrify the neighborhood and mark Halloween with daring bursts of light and sound. Today, such stunts fall under strict pyrotechnics regulations. Fire departments may respond to false alarms, property damage claims can arise, and even minor burns could lead to legal liability for guardians. Every soaring spark once thrilled pranksters. Soon, a prank ignites chaos in plain sight, turning ordinary Halloween decorations into an unpredictable spectacle of light, noise, and mischievous energy beneath the moon. Unlicensed haunted houses, dimly lit basements, and garages groaned under piles of furniture, cobwebs, and homemade props as teens guided friends and neighbors through improvised haunted houses. The scent of dust and candle wax mingled with shrieks and laughter bouncing down quiet streets. In the 1960s, these unlicensed spook houses were a mix of community theater and daring fun, a way to test courage and imagination without forms, permits, or warnings. Each creak and shadow amplified the thrill, making the night pulse with audacious energy. Today, unpermitted haunted houses fall under fire and building code violations. Authorities can shut them down, insurance won't cover accidents, and anyone injured can trigger legal claims, turning playful scares into serious liability. Every startled gasp once thrilled visitors. Next, a prank that turns simple mischief into fiery chaos under the autumn moon. Tampering with streetlights, sidewalks flickered into sudden darkness as kids clambered up poles, twisted bulbs, or snipped fuses, turning familiar streets into shadowed mazes. The crisp October air carried bursts of giggles, the contrast of glowing jack-o'-lanterns against pockets of blackness, making each step pulse with suspense. In the 1960s, tampering with streetlights was a daring test of courage, a fleeting thrill that transformed ordinary neighborhoods into secret theaters of Halloween mischief. Adults often shook their heads, but the audacity felt exhilarating. Modern consequences classify this as vandalism and public endangerment. Police can issue citations, utility companies may demand restitution, and any accidents could create liability claims for parents or guardians. Every wink of darkness once electrified pranksters. Next, a stunt where everyday objects erupt into chaos under the autumn moon. Blocking roads, bicycles toppled, lawn chairs scattered, and cardboard signs sprawled across quiet intersections as kids transformed streets into makeshift arenas. The crunch of rubber tires and shouted dares echoed beneath flickering porch lights, each step of a bold crew challenging drivers to navigate around their barricades. In the 1960s, blocking roads was a playful assertion of control and mischief, a way to claim the night as their own stage, relishing the thrill of temporary power and suspense. Modern law classifies this as traffic obstruction and public endangerment. Fines, vehicle towing, and parental liability are serious consequences for such stunts today. Every midnight blockade once rang with adrenaline. Soon, a prank will turn ordinary objects into combustible chaos, setting the stage for a night that tests nerves, creativity, and the limits of daring Halloween mischief. Blinding drivers with lights, flashlights, car beams, and makeshift bulbs pierced the darkness as kids aimed sudden bursts of light at unsuspecting drivers, sending horns blaring and tires screeching on quiet streets. The crisp autumn air carried laughter and adrenaline, each brief moment of confusion sparking thrills as young pranksters tested courage and control under moonlit shadows. In the 1960s, dazzling drivers with lights was a reckless thrill, a way to feel omnipotent in the fleeting hours of Halloween mischief. Modern rules classify this as reckless endangerment. Police can issue citations. Insurance claims may follow from startled drivers, and even minor accidents could carry liability for guardians. Every flash once electrified the night. Next, a prank that turns ordinary decorations into hazards, pushing mischief into unpredictable territory. Wearing masks to commit crimes. Rubber, latex, and painted masks hid faces as daring teens slipped through streets, shadows blending with jack-o'-lantern glows. A quick snatch of candy, a trespass into a yard, or a mischievous scare left neighbors startled, the thrill rising from anonymity and the tension of bending invisible rules. In the 1960s, masks transformed ordinary trick-or-treaters into shadowy agents of mischief, testing courage while amplifying the mystery of Halloween night. Today, using a mask to commit theft or enter private property is treated as criminal mischief. Police involvement is likely, insurance may not cover losses, and guardians can be held responsible for children's actions. Every hidden face once made the streets pulse with suspense, a flicker of daring, now unimaginable. Soon, the night would host a stunt that turned ordinary costumes into hazards that could ignite panic. Sky lantern releases, Halloween nights in the 1960s sometimes lifted into the heavens with glowing paper lanterns drifting on autumn breezes. Picture dozens of tiny flames floating above quiet streets, casting amber halos on porches and rooftops, while laughter echoed below. Each lantern carried a whisper of daring, a shared thrill that made the night feel alive and suspended in magic. The act wasn't intended to be harmful, but flammable paper and stray sparks turned beauty into unpredictable danger, brushing trees, roofs, or dry lawns with potential fire. Today, releasing open flame lanterns near homes is treated as a fire hazard, with possible fines, liability for damages, and a serious risk to property and wildlife. Those drifting lights once mesmerized the neighborhood. Soon, a different kind of airborne chaos would turn ordinary Halloween streets into a tense, combustible stage. Noise harassment. Halloween in the 1960s sometimes erupted into a chorus of chaos. Children banged pots, shook bells, honked horns, and shouted in wild harmony, turning quiet streets into a temporary orchestra of mischief. Picture laughter, ricocheting off clapboard houses while neighbors peeked from windows, startled yet grudgingly entertained by the audacity. It wasn't meant to harm. It was a playful claim on the night, a way to bend normal rules and announce that Halloween belonged to the bold. Today, such sustained noise is classified as a public nuisance. Complaints to authorities, fines, and strained neighborhood relations are common, and extended disturbances can prompt legal action. Those clattering, shouting groups left the streets vibrating with energy, a reminder that the holiday once thrived on audacity, and soon, another prank would push the limits of sound into even more daring territory. Counterfeit money pranks. Halloween in the 1960s thrummed with clever mischief, and slipping counterfeit bills into candy bowls or leaving them tucked on doorsteps was a daring way to test unsuspecting neighbors. Picture a child's grin as a fake note flutters from a bowl, a startled hand hovering mid-grab, and a quiet burst of laughter echoing down a dimly lit street. It wasn't meant to steal, but to surprise, provoke a reaction, and add a sly twist to the night's adventures. Today, passing counterfeit money, even in jest, is illegal. Authorities could impose fines, and in some cases, charges for fraud or attempted deception might apply. Each fluttering note left a ripple of astonishment and amusement, a fleeting thrill, now impossible to recreate safely. And the next Halloween tale you'll hear carries a spectacle far bigger and riskier than a simple prank. Impersonating emergency workers. Siren lights reflected in the windows as two boys in borrowed coats directed traffic, their voices lower, their gestures deliberate. A fake badge, a borrowed cap, and suddenly the street believed they were real. In the 1960s, it felt like pure bravado, a chilling performance with authority as a prop, half joke, half courage, balanced right where Halloween loved to live. Cars stopped, children obeyed, parents stared twice, and for a moment, it seemed the night belonged to them. Now, this falls under impersonating an officer. Expect arrest on the spot, fines, or even a criminal record, plus liability for any incident that follows. The game with authority was once the ultimate mask. Today, it's a red line. Halloween remains a night of costumes, but power is no costume at all. Step back from the streets of 1960s Halloween and let those memories linger. The laughter, the daring, the chaos that once made a night unforgettable. Which prank surprised you the most? Or which tradition would you have dared to try? Share your thoughts below and join us for more journeys into forgotten times and wild, whimsical adventures. Like, comment, and subscribe to uncover the next chapter in history's playful, unpredictable tales. The night is far from over.